when a person is murdered, well, for me and my family, I was angry.
Today's guest is a revered figure in the entertainment industry with her unforgettable portrayal of Thelma Evans on Good Times. She is a beloved icon of the small screen. Join me in celebrating her legacy. Please welcome BernNadette Stanis. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my word, we are about to have some good times in here.
Yes.
Because you're taking me back to my childhood. I can't help it, but the theme song's already playing in my head. It's going to be playing in my head this whole time.
Can you sing it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you can?
But you don't want to hear it.
Oh, okay.
No. 50 years.
Yeah.
What does that do to you?
You know, just seemed like yesterday.
So how did it all come about of you being on Good Times?
Oh, it's a story now. I was in a beauty pageant, and there was a manager there at that time.
Yeah.
And he came up to my mom and said that they're looking for a daughter for a TV show. And he gave my mother a card to come to CBS, take me to CBS, and to meet Norman Lear. My first audition, you know, I was nervous, but I didn't know what to expect. So when I got into the room, it was like thousands of girls. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah, no chance.
No chance.
Yeah.
So I went into the little room with Norman and Jimmy, and they gave us a script, but I asked Norman, can I improvise? He just looked at me and said, hurry up, I guess. No, he didn't say that.
But he looked like that, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, I improvised with Jimmy. We did a funny thing. We were good.
Yeah.
And he enjoyed it. He smiled, he laughed.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of won me over a little bit.
Did you feel good leaving that audition? Or?
Yes. You know, my father always said, he not only that, he said, what's for you, no one can take from you.
Yeah.
So I kept saying that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
If it's for me, I'll get it. If it's for me, I'll get it.
I wish more people would do that, because I think so many people are frustrated with what they don't get.
Yeah.
Not understanding that you can't get some things
Right.
so that you can get what you're meant to have. You know, and the things that you're meant to do to make a difference.
Yeah.
The show made a big difference. It was groundbreaking in many ways. What were some of the things that you're proud of that it really did break some new ground, especially with racial relations and understanding?
Yeah, I love the fact that, you know, Norman was the guy who went to the edge of town. You know what I mean? He went straight in. And we had so many shows that meant something way back then.
Yeah.
And they still mean something today. People are still going through the same things.
Yeah.
So to me, Good Times was really groundbreaking on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Thanks to Esther Rolle and John Amos.
You know, back then, television was very much a white-centric television shows, and here Good Times comes, along with some other shows during that time, and said, let's give you a window into a world of a different culture.
That's right.
What are some of the things that you were immediately happy with? You're like, I'm seeing my world, my culture represented in a world at that time that was not so open and accepting of it.
Exactly. You know, back then, a lot of people were from the projects. A lot of them were, and I was.
Yeah.
So I understood Thelma. I understood everything about it.
Yeah.
It was a window into what African Americans are about.
Yeah.
You know, and being that it was the first family show, the whole show with, you know, mom, dad, kids.
Yeah.
We had, of course, the white writers.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are the black cast.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you're married. You gotta work it out.
Yeah.
So some things, you know, they didn't understand. Some things we didn't understand. But we finally got it together. 50 years later, I mean, that's still watching Good Times.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some documentaries of some of the producers, the writers of Good Times, Jefferson's, others who were saying, yeah, we're white, but we sure value this beautiful multicultural country that we live in, and you have to be represented. And so there were so many men who said, yeah, I'm not an African American, but what can I do to let your voice be heard?
Yeah.
What were some of the experiences that you had in Good Times that you mentioned they didn't get it sometimes. You just kind of had to
That's in
redirect
life
them.
anyway. You have to dance around certain things, and
Yeah.
you know, I'll tell you about my world, and you tell me about yours, and
Yeah.
let's blend it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what we had to do.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that Good Times was like a human show. It was just about what we go through, emotions and things like that. It just happened to be Black people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the projects.
Yeah.
How much of yourself did you bring to Thelma, and how much did you just create a different character?
Oh, my brother, he always says to me, "You were born to be Thelma."
You were typecast.
Yeah, for
that
typecast
role.
from the ground up. Yeah, it was just beautiful because I knew her. I knew the character. I knew what I wanted her to say. I was that girl who was trying to be a good girl, do the best I can to get out the projects and things like that. It just happened, so I left the projects to go into the projects. You know? But I remember one time I spoke to Esther. I used to call her mom.
Yeah.
And they didn't know really what to do with me or how to write for me.
Yeah.
And so I always had good morning, Ma, Dad, and shut up, JJ, okay?
Yeah.
That's what I had. And I was in the bathroom. I don't know if you guys remember all that.
Yeah.
So it got on like about 6 months later, and I was not progressing with my lines or anything. It was just no lines. So and I was very bored that week.
Yeah.
So I told Mom, I said, you know, I'm getting a little bored, and I know I could do more than this. She said, you can? I said, yes. So she said, okay, let me handle it. And she did. She asked the producers, she said to them, I want to ask a question about my daughter. And they said, yeah. She said, are you ashamed of her? They said, no, we're not ashamed of her. She said, well, I want her to have more lines. I want her to have a voice.
Yes.
My son JJ has a voice, my son Michael has a voice, and I want to give my daughter a voice.
Yeah.
And they said, certainly. And so I went up to the producer's office and I told them who Thelma was. And they wrote for me.
You basically helped craft that character.
Absolutely.
Ah, that's amazing. Now, you're working on a new project with Carl Weber. Talk to me about that.
Oh, very different from Thelma, okay? My character is Nene Duncan, and she's a killer. So it's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. I just did finish the 5th season, and then we have another show called Carl Weber's The Family Business New Orleans.
Yes.
And I'm in that too.
The Family Business New Orleans. You got to check it out. And we're going to talk about more, but we've got to take a break. But when we come back, Dr. Sharmini Long will join us as we hear how BernNadette's happy life was met with an unexpected tragedy. We're continuing our conversation with BernNadette Stanis, and thank you, Dr. Sharmini Long, for joining us for this segment. Dr. Sharmini Long is our wellness specialist here on the show.
Great.
BernNadette, you've not only had great success, but you've also had to deal with some great tragedy. 1991, tragedy strikes your home. What happens?
Well, we didn't really know what happened to Daddy, but it was Brooklyn, and he was coming home from the cleaners. He had gone to the cleaners for my brother. And I think they had like a little concert outside and he was dancing, because I remember he called me earlier and he said, I'm dancing with this 90-year-old lady, you know, and he was 66 at the time. So I said, well, Dad, go ahead and dance with her. And on his way home, he was hit in the head with brass knuckles. And he started to bleed, you know. When he got home, he couldn't remember some things. I didn't at the time. I didn't know that the blood erases the memory.
Oh, wow.
He was in the hospital for 7 weeks, and he didn't make it. I was angry for about 5 years.
Absolutely.
I was very angry, you know, because he was healthy. He was, you know, spunky, and you know, that was so unnecessary. In fact, they hit 4 older men, and 2 lived, 2 didn't. It was really hard on my mom. It was actually the first time I had really seen her without my dad. You know, it was like, Mom, you know. But it was very, very hard on her because it was such a surprise, you know. And she was 59 at the time, and so
young to lose your spouse.
Yes, and so she was in shock, I do believe. But by the time she was 63, she had developed something called Parkinson's. I mean, she would walk, but she couldn't move her leg when she wanted to. Yeah, so we didn't know what it was. And she said, I'm going to go check this out and see what's wrong. Later on, in one of her books, she wrote, I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell the children. She didn't tell us that it was Parkinson's. We didn't know what was going on. So by the time she hit 70, that's when my brother called me and told me that, you know, she's slipping. You know, you have to come and get her.
Yeah.
I went and got her and brought her back to California.
Did she live with you?
Yeah, she did. She lived with me and my family. And she would do the repeating, you know.
Yeah.
Where's my purse? Where's my purse? Did you pay my bill? Did you pay my bill? Mom, yeah, did do that. But I didn't know anything about Alzheimer's. I had no concept. First time I heard about it, you know.
Yeah.
And so when I took her into the neurologist, he said, yeah, your mom has Alzheimer's. And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know.
It's such a difficult disease because it's like you're losing your parent while they're still alive and you're watching them, and then you lose them again when they pass away.
It's a long goodbye, they say. It's a long goodbye. You know, during that, my mother was a bookkeeper, so I would get her money out every month and give it to her, you know. Here, Ma, here's your money. Yeah. And so she would take her money and we would go like to the mall or something like that, and she would just give her money out.
Yeah.
I took her to the hairdresser, you know, and everything, and the lady did her hair and she paid for it and everything. Then she gave her another $100. And I'm like, well, Ma, that's a big tip. She says, yeah, but she has a lot of children and she needs that money.
But she was being very generous.
Yes, she's very generous. And so I decided that I was going to go to the toy store and, you know, get play money. And I took them.
That's a good idea.
I did, you guys. And I replaced her money with the toy money, play money. And Mommy looked in her purse and she got her money out, and there was a lot of money in there, and she just spread it all out. And I watched her and she was just, you know, playing with her money or whatever, organizing it. And that's what hurt me the most.
Yeah.
Because I realized she did not realize it was play money.
Yeah.
It was so sad. So I'm saying these are the things that you go through. Your heart breaks along the way, you know, it just keeps breaking. More things that you see, you say, wait. And so one morning she got up and she started calling me Mommy. I said, oh, Mom. I said, okay, I'll be your mom. You were my mom for so many years. I'll be your mom today.
Yeah.
You know, and we do it like that. But they regress, you know, and they go back. So it was interesting. My daughter was a teenager at the time, my oldest daughter. And she took my mom out. And they were teenagers together. Yeah. She said, Mom, I met a teenager in my grandma. You know, that's the kind of thing it was. Yeah.
Talk to us about some of the challenges of being a caregiver.
Okay. You can get the stages of Alzheimer's in any book, or you can go online. But nobody could really tell you about the pain, you know, of really losing a parent or losing someone you love. And I just couldn't get my hands around it. You know, I was like, Mommy, more vitamins. Maybe we can do more vitamins. We can kick it. We can do this. And, you know, you think that way, but it's not. It's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen. And so those are the challenges. You know, it just seems like it's very hard. And to know that you have someone's life in your hands. There's something in the brain that goes, okay, you're always worrying. You're always thinking, okay, I got to make sure she has appointments. Okay, we got to get her up to do this and that. And I was a sandwich person. I was in the middle. I had a little kid and my mom, you know, this kind of thing. Yeah. So caregiving is very, very difficult. And for me, I put BernNadette way in the back. I said, you'll get you together after this. And literally, I gained so much weight and didn't realize I was gaining weight. Yeah. I went to buy some clothes, and the size, forget it, I'm not gonna say this. But I did pick out this dress, whatever, and I put it on. It was tight. I said, you know what? These people have to stop ordering European sizes. I was still in denial. But I mean, that's what happens. You know, you're so busy worrying about somebody else that I didn't even realize it. So sometimes as a caregiver, you know, you don't see yourself anymore. You know, you disappear a little bit. Yeah. And so you take care of everyone else. Yeah. And that's how a lot of times caregivers pass away before the person they're caring for. Yeah. You know, and so you have to take care of yourself. And then when you do take care of yourself and you leave and you go to the gym or you go somewhere, you know, you worry then. Well, they can't handle her like I can handle her, so I got to hurry up and go back home. Yeah. You know, it's a pull. Yeah. So that's
you have gone through so much experience as a caregiver. You've actually written a book on caregiving, and you have another new book coming out, a memoir, and I want us to talk about that, but we got to take a break.
Okay.
Don't go away. We'll learn from BernNadette about how she's dealt with so much tragic loss and her message to her fans. So you don't want to go away. We're back with BernNadette Stanis. And BernNadette, you've written a couple of books recently, but I want to start out with your book, The Last Night.
Okay.
It's a beautiful book about this journey of a caregiver. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
On the last night of her life, I actually said to her, "It's not over yet, Mom." Because I feel like I'm not embarrassed about the disease or anything like that. She had it, and I wanted to honor her life, and to explain to people about caregiving. And also, I wrote it because I wanted to share with others the heartbreak of this disease that happens to a caregiver. And I was able to do it 5 years later.
Wow.
It took that long.
Lost a parent very suddenly and quickly through tragic circumstances, and then had a parent pass very slowly as well through also difficult circumstances. Talk to us about the difference between that and how you processed each of those losses.
That was very interesting, but I do believe that the sudden death of my father, the shock of it, shocked my mom. I think that triggered, to me, I want to think that triggered the Alzheimer's. I really do. But when you lose a parent or you lose someone suddenly, there is an anger there. There's a confusion, you know. Why did he get murdered? Who murdered him? You know, things like that.
All the questions.
Yes. And then when you have a parent that has Alzheimer's and it takes a long time, sometimes you say, oh my God, you know, she's gonna snap out of this, or, you know, this has taken so long. Sometimes you get up and you say, gosh, you know, and then sometimes you realize, you know, when it's over, you say, God, it wasn't long at all.
Yeah.
You know.
I can't wait for people also to connect with your new memoir,
Oh.
Good Times, a memoir.
Yeah. Ain't we lucky we got them?
We're going to sing before the end of the show. I know we are.
Oh my God.
Talk to us about your new memoir.
Yeah, well, you know, I wanted to give back to my audience the 50 years that they supported the show, me, and everything like that. And I wanted to tell them how I felt about Good Times, what it was like for me, you know, what it was like back then in the 70s, all those wonderful things, the stories that are behind the scenes, you know, my relationship with each one of my co-stars, things like that.
Oh, people are curious about that.
I know,
you
it's
fun. Sometimes you're surprised. They look like they get along on the scenes and they don't talk to each other outside. or vice versa. They're enemies and they're best friends off screen.
Well, most of us were friends. You know, Jimmy's friends too. Don't let him fool you.
No matter what he says.
No. You know, he knows better than that. But, you know, being a comedian, he stays out all night. And so when he has to get up in the morning and do his show, do Good Times, he's cranky.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he doesn't speak to me. I get on him.
Yeah.
You should see us.
Do you talk about that in your book?
Yes, all
right.
that. Yes, and the directors and the producers. We talk about that. Talk about the wardrobe lady. All those beautiful things.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love that you've used your influence in your audience to be able to help people through the difficult times that you've had as well in your life.
Yeah,
it's such a wonderful testament to
thank you.
care.
Yeah, well, it's my life, you know, and if it can help someone, that's what I want to do.
Because we all have difficult times.
Yes.
It's not just good times.
No.
Good times.
And you know, people always say to me, well, if it's good times, how come you guys never got out of the ghetto? Yeah.
Because it wasn't great times.
No, I tell them, look, if we got out of the ghetto, that'd be the end of the show.
Yeah. What's the conflict? Yeah. Exactly. You got to have
But the
conflict.
last show we did get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Everybody got out of the ghetto.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where your story arc led.
Yeah.
Now, with your own story, what do you wish, before we have to go today, what do you wish your fans could hear from you?
Well, I want them to know that I adore them.
Yeah.
Because they have treated me so well in the last 50 years. They've really supported me. Everything that I've tried to do, they've supported me. And I just want to say I appreciate it. and maybe for the next 50, okay?
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you for helping us celebrate
Roy.
with you
Thank
50
you.
years
You're
of
wonderful.
amazingness, and we're just so thankful we got to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, doctor.
Stick around. I have some thoughts on ensuring you make the most of the time you have with your own loved ones. To those of you who have recently stepped into the role of caregiver for your parents, this is one of the most challenging yet profoundly rewarding journeys you can embark on. First, know that you are not alone. It's a demanding role, physically, emotionally, and financially. But amidst these challenges lies an incredible opportunity. Caring for your parents allows for deep reflection and even the chance for you to express unspoken gratitude and love to them. As difficult as it may seem now, these moments will become cherished memories. Take care of yourself, seek support when needed, and embrace this journey with compassion and love. You are making a difference in ways that words cannot fully capture. Stay strong, stay connected, and cherish this time with your parents. I'm Roy Ice, reminding you, your best life is possible, and your tomorrow can be even better than today. So let's keep growing. Don't forget that you can find exclusive content on all of our guests. Check us out on social media using the handle Lifestyle with Roy.